Top of the morning.
My name is Jason Martinez,
I'm Steve Shenbaum.
and we are
Game on.
Nation.
When I said top of the morning, I did like an Irish accent.
Top of the morning. Top of the morning.
That's Jason's phrase. He always texts me or he'll say top of the morning.
Top of the morning.
So I like to put an Irish
Top of the
accent.
morning.
But that has nothing to do with
I
our
don't know,
lives.
it's just something about the morning that gets me jazzed up. So I just like to always kind of feel like.
At what time of the day do you have to stop and go top of the afternoon? Like, can you go top of the morning pretty much all day?
I don't know if you can take top of the afternoon. I don't know if I've ever said top of the afternoon.
It doesn't have the same flow. Top of the afternoon.
Top of the afternoon.
But like, top of the morning, like, at what point do you stop? Like, what time do you stop serving breakfast? You know what I mean?
It depends. I mean, Waffle House is open all day.
He's taking this literally. Hey.
But thanks for being here.
Yeah.
You are here because you want to learn more about some of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. We're talking about presentation today. That's a theme that is dear to both Jason and me, but I think it's dear to all of us. Presentation, that's a very powerful word. We're going to not give it all away right now, but we're going to kind of break down a little bit on how we see presentation. And maybe we can learn from one another and we can talk about presentation maybe beyond what we think traditionally. But maybe we can start there.
And before we jump into kind of the deep subject matter that we'll be talking about today, I just want to tee up a few Game On related. The Game On blog goes out every Wednesday.
Nice.
And the theme of the live stream usually connects to what's going on in the blog, which is really the theme of what we do here at Game On, teamwork and connection. So everything that we talk about here on the live stream with you is related to the work that we do.
Good. Well said.
And so the blog goes out on Wednesdays. If you want to subscribe to that, we can get you subscribed. Not just because we're like, hey, subscribe to our thing, but because it's really good stuff.
That's cool. And we want to create a community. We want to hear from people.
That's right.
We talk a lot about learning well, leading well, and laughing well. And a lot of it's about we're in this together. I know that could be like a catchphrase, but we mean it. Like we're in this together. I believe we're all presenters. So like Jason said, we want to be a resource. We want to build a community and start sharing ideas and best practices so we can all improve.
Yeah. And people might be like, how can I fit into a community of presenters?
Jason, how can I fit into a community of presenters?
I'm glad that you asked. I'm glad that you asked. There's this idea that presentations are a thing that people do.
Yeah.
Right. And I say this from having presented on stages over the last decade from a comedic perspective, as a comedian, getting on stages everywhere and presenting my material, presenting myself. And so through that lens, people might see me on stage and be like, oh, he's a presenter right now.
Right.
And then I've always thought about a presentation as like actually delivering something to someone like in like where there's an audience, a big audience, and I have to present them information, right? So that's the kind of the lens that I used to think about presentation from.
And I had some similar ones. We're sharing
Am
this.
I being too loud? I feel like
man,
screaming. Okay.
Hey, come if you're joining us. Let us know you've joined us. Where you're coming in from. We'll have some questions asked. No, but Jason, you thought presentation back in the day as that traditional way. So did I. When I was an actor, I wasn't thinking of my acting as presentation. I thought presentation truly, it was when TED Talk started to get a little big. And I thought TED Talk. When someone said I gave a presentation, I wasn't picturing them like having a meeting with their family or talking to a group of Little League players. Right now I'm giving it away now. I thought presentation, they probably did a business meeting, some kind of public speech, or some kind of large group structured setting.
Sold Kirby vacuums.
Sold Kirby vacuums.
Because they got us.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
They got you. You did buy the Kirby vacuums?
Yeah, we did.
But, what does presentation really mean? And for us, it's not exclusive. I think when we think of it like, oh, no, I'm not a presenter. Well, because you didn't do a TED Talk? Or because you're not in big board meetings with companies, that's not fair. That's not fair to you. And we got someone that just came in. I just wanted to give them a shout out. But someone came in listening in from St. Pete.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
But anyway, beyond that presentation, that structured presentation, like what are some other presentations that we can think about? And then we can start realizing, we're presenting all the time.
All the time. We are literally presenting right now.
Yeah.
But we probably don't see this as presenting because like we kind of live in the world of presentation.
Yeah. But we should, like, even like people that need to know, like Jason and I, like, are intentional. We talk through it a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, we don't just sit there and quote unquote wing it. You know,
Yeah.
we take it seriously,
Mhm.
so we don't have to take ourselves so seriously.
You know what's wild is that Matt just presented himself to everybody on the live stream.
I love
here.
it. Is that he said coming in from St.
Yeah,
Pete,
coming in from St. Pete, Florida.
Glad
Like,
you're here, man.
just presenting himself, which I think also speaks to like where you might be going as far as like the opportunities to present ourselves
Mhm.
and when those arise and how we can think about presentation differently.
Yeah, you said we're going to get in and kind of go on big picture on like presentation, big definition, right?
Mhm,
Just what we could default to right away. Big presentation, lots of information, audience listening, PowerPoint, that kind of thing. And we're gonna honor that, but we're gonna actually add some to
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
you said something, Jason, in the rehearsal, you know, the talking through, which was powerful. Which is also, you can't think of presentation as always having to be on all the time. And I think that's important as we dive in and chop this up. Is I think for me, I can't speak for everyone else. I thought presentation in a certain structure because it's an on moment.
Mhm.
So then what happens is there's a lot of other moments that I'm not honoring as a presentation,
Right.
i.e. like, and now we're getting into some, you know, the nitty gritty, but like, you know, you're in the grocery store and you're walking past a family and they just want an eye contact and a smile. You run into someone
Mhm.
whose kids go to school at your kid's school.
Mhm.
You're presenting, you're interacting,
Yeah.
you're exchanging. You got to be careful you don't dishonor those exchanges, those moments, because that's a representation of who you are.
Was there? Come on in here with me, Steve. Was there a moment for you? You've been doing this for a good period of time, right?
Half my life.
Yeah. And so, when was the moment that you were like,
Okay.
when you went from stage or be in front of the camera, or and something else happened? You was like, and you were like, well, I'm actually presenting right
Yeah.
now. Do you like? Can you recall some of that?
I don't remember the one moment. I do think about when I was in college, my freshman year. I was a big personality, kind of a little bit lost, you know,
Mhm.
freshman year, transition to Northwestern. I was a big personality. And I started getting some feedback from friends second semester, like, man, I remember meeting you during like orientation, man. You're out there. And I thought, wow, my behavior is being remembered. I know that sounds a little bit
Okay.
egotistical, but
Right.
what hit me was like our actions, the way we interact with people, like people remember it.
Mhm.
And you can make a good impression, you can make a strange impression. I think it was a combination for me. I was a big personality, wanted everyone to like me, new
Mhm.
environment, 18 years old, right? All this
Yeah.
freedom. So just that was one. Second semester, I had a lot of people come up to me, man, I remember meeting you at orientation. And that was when I realized, wow, I only thought of that as like, let's have fun.
Yeah.
And let's just go through orientation week. And what
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize was I was making an impression on
Mhm.
these people. So I was presenting
Yeah.
myself. You know, I don't know. How about you?
I'm trying to think, and well, actually, the first time I presented was in grade school,
Mhm.
and I think some people call it elementary school.
They all do.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's
I just call it grade school because I was probably in the same grade for a long time.
that was his joke. That was his joke. Stand up comedy.
But I had to present something that I had written for the DARE program, and I
Mhm.
remember presenting in front of the entire school. That was the first like type of presentation that I remember.
Yeah.
But then as far as like being like, wow, I might be in a space where like I have like I'm not on, but I can present myself in a certain way or see an opportunity to step in and present maybe a different perspective or different approach. And that was in the military, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that was in the military.
It was a way for you to convey your story in an
Mhm.
authentic way. Don't
Right.
put on some act,
Right.
right? We talked about it earlier. Like, it's not like you're on,
Mhm.
but right? You talk about, it's sort of like I'm not comparing college to like military, but you're starting a new slate, right?
Well, in the military, this mind frame is like you really are truly always presenting from your uniform
You're on.
to how you're
I
you're
just stood up. I
walking.
just stood up straight. Yeah.
Yeah,
Serious.
right. I should be standing straight, but to how you're walking,
Mhm.
to like to your haircut, to all the things like you truly are presenting. Like you're being
Yeah.
observed all
Eyes
the
are on
time.
you. Well, let's go there then, and kind of get in a little bit more of the narrow. So,
Right,
so the
right.
blog that we teed up and sent out on Wednesday, yesterday, I had some fun with it. You know, I talked about we're all presenters, but then my presentations that I broke down were like dropping my kids off at elementary school with that drop-off line, which is like really stressful. Or one of them was in the grocery store lane where you have 15 items, but you're in the 10 item or less lane, right?
Yeah.
I think another one was presenting. Putting my kids to bed. I have two girls, 10 and 8, and putting them to bed is not easy. But all jokes aside, and now we can go there and we can ask our listeners as well to chime in. Is, man, when you think about presentation beyond TED Talk, presentation beyond business meeting, and we start being intentional and take care and focus on some of these what we can quote unquote small presentations. Man, when I joked around about those blogs, Jason, I realized at the end it was a joke. I was having fun, but some of these presentations are so important. I should be putting more care into meeting my family and sitting down with my children and helping them with my wife navigate. I should be putting more care and effort into that than I am, no offense, but some big corporate gig where I've been hired to speak.
I like where you went there, where you said the care part, right? Because if we walk around with a certain level of care, then we're going to present ourselves in a certain way,
which is way more tangible than being on all the time.
Yeah,
just care.
Yeah,
care. I'm telling you, I'm sorry to jump right in there,
no,
but
that's good.
So
that's good.
Care is reasonable. Like, it's not some dominate the day, win the now. I'm sorry to be rude, but like make the most amazing impression on this person right away. Like that first of all, it's kind of prideful. If you care, and I'll be real here, I can lose my cool sometimes, get impatient, got the kids. We all do, navigating through, like, let's go back to grocery store. If you care, you may not be so short with that person checking you out at the grocery store line. And you might realize this person's going through some stuff. That's a really important presentation you got going on right now. Paper or plastic. I know that's a kind of a joke, but like how you respond to that and make eye contact with the person and see them, and that's a big deal, actually.
That is their. I mean, stay with the grocery store, right? That's their stage every day. The cashier, the person bagging your groceries, the managers, like that entire store is their stage.
Do me a favor, and I've been this person on the bad side. When you're in grocery store line, watch how people ahead of you are responding, connecting with, and treating that person that's helping you get checked out.
What's the presentation that they're delivering?
You'll see people not make eye contact. You'll see some people that are like just moderately friendly, which jumps off the page because the bar's so low. Right. You'll see people that are short. You'll see people that are just on their phone. And again, I'm not talking about being on all the time. I think you hit it. It's just when we present first, don't think of presentation as a traditional speech. It's very exclusive. And then you put yourself out of the picture. If you're not given like a big board meeting, you're like, well, I'm not a presenter. You absolutely are. If you're coaching Little League, if you're walking down the grocery store lane, if you're picking up your children, if you're the aunt or uncle who's just loved on and come in, if you're blessed enough to have a Thanksgiving dinner with loved ones, you're presenting. You know, you're listening, you're asking good questions, you're sharing the space. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I really like how you just illuminated that there's so many opportunities for us to present and that we don't always have to be on, but when the moment presents itself,
ding, ding, ding.
Right?
Yeah.
Then that's really an opportunity to just lean into the care. And it's about the person on the other side.
It truly is. And it don't lose that train of thought. I have a quick story. It's actually somewhat from our colleague, Blair Bloomston, but she jokes around like, if you're not ready and you don't care, and it's not that means you're not a caring person. You're not ready. You're all frazzled. You'll see someone that you recognize and you'll want to go the other way.
Right.
We've all been there. Why is that? Well, probably because I'm not prepared.
Right.
Probably because my care level's low. I'm a little fired up.
Yeah.
Maybe I got the kids yelling, screaming, and whatever. But what about if we got to a place where we felt centered, we felt comfortable? I don't want to steal. You got something, and you saw someone that you hadn't seen in a while, and instead of running away and hiding in like the frozen food section, you actually go, "Hey,
I'm just thinking about that moment. I'm just thinking about that moment where you see someone and you're not ready to like
engage,
be on and engage, right? And then you're looking for a hiding spot, and then they go to open to grab some ice cream.
You're right there. That's too That's an extra, and that's why Jason goes the extra mile. He'll actually get in to the
I'm
frozen
actually
peas.
in the
That'd be
frozen
hilarious. I
peas.
open. I'm like, Jason, I can see you, and you're just like next to the Stouffer's pizza.
But
just
then you have no choice but to present. And then what do you do?
and then you're acting. Then you know what? Then you're trying too hard. Then
Right.
you're putting on an act.
Right.
Yeah, it's I don't know. The ones that I put in the blog that were again joking, but they kind of started to resonate with me. Even was like, when we run into someone and we don't know their name. I wrote that.
Mhm.
The blog was kind of like, here's the title of the presentation and here's some of my notes. And the title of this one was running into someone who knows your name, but you don't know theirs.
Yeah.
And my presentation notes were not an easy gig, but I happen to present this session quite often.
Mhm.
And how do we navigate through that situation? And are you present enough to be like, hey, I'm so sorry. Can give me your name again? Or how do we know each other? Do you fake it throughout the whole thing?
And and it goes right back to care, because if we're not thinking about ourselves in that moment, if you're not thinking about how I feel because I don't remember this person's name,
right.
Or like if you're just thinking about I want to get to know this person's name, then you might just say, hey, can you remind me of your name again?
I think we don't ask out of pride.
Yeah.
But you nailed it early. Like, again, this goes back to how Game On teaches presentation, which is like honor the audience. The minute you start thinking, and now we're thinking presentation, and if you're just joining us, thinking presentation as a vast, any interaction, any engagement, then you think, don't think about being liked. Don't think about getting a standing ovation. Think about how you want to serve the others. And if we do, Jason, you actually will put your pride aside, because it's embarrassing to not know someone's name. It is, but they're not upset. You are, we are. So I wanted to hit something. I know we have some folks that are coming in. If you do have a comment or you're joining in, we also have some questions as well we may throw at you.
Eric says, address it head on or fake it. Whatever you choose, commit 100%.
Is that Eric Solhansky?
No, that's Eric Ullman.
Oh, Eric Ullman. I'm sorry, Eric. We have a colleague, Eric Solhansky. I love that. Eric, in the blog, I said there's 3 ways you can run it. You could be like, address it head on.
Yeah.
You can fake it and hopefully the name manifests in the middle of the conversation, or you just never get the name. I wrote this, never get the name.
It's always kind of a feeling too, right? Because if you come up to me and I can almost vibe that you 100%. Don't remember my name.
And then I'm vibing that you're vibing that I don't know your name. Exactly. And everyone's tripped out.
Yeah.
And it would have been maybe better early.
And I'm also like, I don't remember your name either.
And we both leave, and I'm like, later, Joe. And you're like, later, Sam.
Yeah, exactly.
And we both leave. I said, sometimes you won't get the name, but you'll get a lot of shame. That's good, Eric, that you said that. And we appreciate that you're coming in, because we like community and we want other voices and here. I want to go back to something though, and it's seasonal right now. I'm really I watch the Little League World Series. I watch it with my girls, 10 and 8. It just ended. Hawaii won the Little League World Series. This just hit me. And this is something that this is not like we're going to spit nuggets at you. This is something we all can work on. When the coaches were mic'd up, you could tell that these are good men and women. I mean, they're coaching Little League, but let's look at presentation as just you're coaching a youth sport. We don't always think that way. You're presenting to some of the most vital audience members at the most crucial time of their life. I mean, I'm all for corporate presentations. It's part of what we do. But what about those 12-year-olds that need mother and father figures in the biggest stage of their life? When the coaches are mic'd up, I'm always aware that they're mic'd up. But it's not a bad thing.
It's not.
And I guess my long run short of it is, what if we thought in a way where when we talk, we are being heard? We are mic'd up. Because they're not fake, but you could tell they know they're mic'd up. They're not going to walk up and berate the 12-year-old when they know they're a national audience and they got a mic. What if we thought that way all the time? I think we would say a lot less.
This is good.
I think we would get rid of some of the dirt that's in us. We're all got dirt in us, and I mean that metaphorically. Just to be conscious of that. I'm not talking about paralyzed, but I ask you this, and I'll throw it back to you, Jace. If you were mic'd up and everyone was listening, how would you speak to everyone? And I'm saying this for me because I lost my cool yesterday at Walmart buying a bike for a friend of mine, and I got short with the person helping because no one was helping, and they're just struggling.
Yeah.
But if I knew I was mic'd up throughout that Walmart, let me tell you something. I wouldn't have lost my cool.
So just
I'd have been on my best behavior.
That's such a good run. You know, I never really. I mean, I like to think that I'm in this, but like you said, we're all human. We all have faults and whatnot. But I like to think that I live in this space in my mind where I'm considering who might be listening or what I'm portraying at the moment. But you're right, it happens. We get into those moments, and if we think about whatever engagement I'm involved in, whatever interaction I'm involved in, that other folks might be listening and looking at me as either an example of good or an example of bad.
Not in a paranoid way either.
Right.
Listen, I'm saying this, but I'm struggling with this too.
Yeah.
If you knew that everything you shared has ramifications and it's amplified,
Yeah.
you know, because we so often throw it away when we're like, I'm gonna say something heavy. I'll never see this person again. Well, even if you won't ever see that person again, why is that the time to give a bad presentation? And I'm being very vulnerable. That's usually my default. I'm never going to see this person. So that's reason to be short. But
Right.
oh, no. That's a parent of a child. And my child goes to school with that child. So I don't want it to be awkward. So then that's my reason for being nice? No. Your reason for presenting well should be that we think of every engagement as an opportunity, truly, to make a positive impression. I'm not talking about blow people away. I'm not talking about change their life. I'm not talking about spit fire and epic nuggets of wisdom. Like, come on, that's prideful. I'm talking about like, just, I don't know, allow for a pleasant exchange.
Yeah. This is good. This is a good run. Steve, while we have some folks here, I do want to ask a couple of questions.
I love
here.
that. Jason's kind of managing the actual.
Let's do this one. What are some of your most challenging audiences?
Question throwing out there. So we're kind of asking the community here.
There's a community. I mean, and then like tee it up and just speak from like if you're watching a live stream.
Yeah,
we're on the other side.
If I'm on the other side, and I'm going to give you all permission to share yours. I mean, right now, my most challenging and most important audience is my 10 and 8-year-old. And I'm being real. It's tough right now. They're just, I love my kids, but there's some tough stuff going on. They're getting sassy, and 10-year-old's asking when she's going to get the cell phone, and getting short with my wife. And I'm not posting any of this on social media because that'd be whack to have like a communication leadership coach be like, my kids are defiant. Most important audience right now.
But we'll just live stream it.
Yeah, we'll just live. No, wait, we're doing this? Bro, you said this was rehearsal. We'll just like, don't tell anyone. I just went to the mic. I want you to know.
But it's so good because I bet people watching right now, when we say we tee up who are your most challenging audiences, through the lens of giving a presentation, probably saying,
middle management,
corporate space,
yeah,
the executives or whatever.
And I have a pin, and I'm not trying to be rude on that. Like big sales meeting, all those are important. Yeah. No, if I'm putting my corporate gig ahead of my 10 and 8-year-old daughter's ability to develop and learn from my wife and I, then my priorities are out of order. And that's not a win. And Jason, we're all dynamic. You're all dynamic. We're all good presenter. We are. I'm not trying to be prideful, but if I'm moving an audience out at like Texas A&M football, and then I come home and my children don't feel loved, then I don't think I've succeeded on my journey. I'm just being real. Yeah. Worst starting to those that don't react. Who wrote that?
This is Matt Hitchcock.
Matt, thanks for joining us. And I said who wrote that only because Jason's eyes are better than mine. At least a bad reaction tells me I need to make adjustments. Blank expressions are not. That's a really interesting one, Matt. That's really interesting. And I could go on a run on that.
Yeah.
That's tough. My encouragement to all of us is don't read too much into non-responsiveness. But I'm with you. We've been in audience. We do a lot of engagement. We do a lot of interactivity. And when the people are like this, but I just did, it's tough. Yeah, that's a tough audience. But don't always assume that they're not engaged. They could just be having a long day, or they could be taking notes on their iPhone.
This is real. Thanks. I mean, Matt, thanks for the comment there. Like the same goes for personal interactions. Blank expressions don't help. I would also say sometimes, to your point, like people just receive the information differently. They might just be calculating in their head. They might just be like trying to figure out what it all means to them. So
you taught me this, Jason. You also might be catching, we're getting a little heavy here, but you might be catching someone and their expression has nothing to do with the interaction going on. They may be coming from something. A lot of people are coming from stuff right now. Yeah. You guys know what I mean by that?
This is good. No,
you're coming for stuff and they're going to stuff. And what I mean by that, there's stress. There's stress. There's that stuff and stress together.
Well, I mean, let's break it down, right? Steve and I, let's say we're talking about engagement, interaction, always a moment to present. Steve and I had a moment where we didn't present well to one another.
We had
Right.
about a week ago. I checked on. It was on me. I was like, hey man, I didn't really get that vibe on that. It was
Thanks so much, Eric. We appreciate you.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it was a moment where, and this is helpful for any work environment, any team environment. I said, hey, I didn't really get that vibe on that joke. And it was really quick exchange. It was an awesome exchange. And you hit me with a really good wisdom. You're like, Steve, that my tone had nothing to do with that moment. I'm coming from something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And nothing like some heavy, it was just coming from something. Right. And I brought that in and that exchange had nothing to do. So we can't take it personally. We got to know sometimes people are coming from stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I hope I teed that up right.
No, that's good. That's good. When we talk about every moment, or the moments where we don't have to be on, right? And the presentation, you can always be presenting yourself in a way, and then like you can always, especially when it comes to personal interactions, go back and say, I don't feel like I presented myself well there.
You could own that if you build the trust. I know we're going to get to the song. We're going to kind of come to a little bit of a wrap. We thank y'all for joining us. But I want to share one more thing. And we're going to be doing these every Thursday at 11:30 Eastern.
We've been doing these.
Yeah.
We will continue to do these.
Come on. No, it's important. And we love when you come in and share. We try to kind of utilize that window of 11:30 to 12. Honor your time. Share some important good to-dos. The other thing I'll just add on my end, and then Jason, I know we want to go to the song of the week and we can bring it to close, is if you look at every presentation as an opportunity to make an impact on others, you won't create a hierarchy of one presentation is more important than the other. And I actually think it could help you in your business presentation. Let's go back to the traditional presentation. So we started with not every presentation is a TED Talk, a board meeting, a business.
Yeah, give them tangible right now.
Yeah.
Give them tangible.
So what I'd say is if you can honor all engagements and you can honor those difficult presentations, which are like dealing with our kids, the young men and women down in the Little League field, Boys and Girls Club, whatever you're doing to chop it up and get real, I'll tell you it'll be more advantageous because then when you get back to your business, because I know a lot of people that are joining us are in the business world, when you get back to that business deal, that corporate engagement, you know what? You'll see it for what it is and you won't give it more than it deserves because the corporate gig is not life and death and it is not the most important thing. I'm going to give it all I got, but more important to me is honoring my daughters. So if you can put it in perspective and put it in priority, you may take some of the pressure off you. None of these presentations are life and death,
right? Except
for life and death.
Right. It's good. It's good. Very good. And so if you are subscribed to the blog, you will see that every week we put our song of the week, which is kind of tries to connect our big theme for the week. And this week, if you're a Jack Johnson fan, well, you're in luck because we got a Jack Johnson song.
You had that that monster truck voice. This Saturday and Sunday only.
This is Casey Kasem.
Oh, wow.
Jack Johnson. Never know.
That was good, Jace.
Well, I've been practicing Casey Kasem for years.
That's really good. For that moment?
For this moment.
It's a presentation.
Jack Johnson never know. And what I love about Jack Johnson is his storytelling ability. And there's a line in here, and so there's just so much in this song, but there's a line in here that says, we're just moments.
Yep. We talked about this. Every interaction is just a moment. And not just meaning in a minimal way. Just if we're just moments, then be present during those moments.
Yeah. And it ties into exactly what you just said. The looking at it for what it is. Yeah. It's all just a moment, and some things should take precedence over others.
Sure.
And you shouldn't necessarily look at moments as being bigger than, because actually the other thing is really the thing that's bigger than.
Honor each moment. Don't put priority on a business meeting when you may find that engagement at the grocery store, the lane, the checkout line, may be just as powerful.
Life-changing.
You don't know if you're going to run into that person again, and it doesn't matter if you don't. Still treat them with honor and stay on point and care. Yeah. And then think of it as everyone can hear what I'm saying right now. Yeah. And if everyone can hear, if I'm mic'd up in the Little League World Series Stadium, then I'm going to say all good things because I know I'm mic'd up. So think about being mic'd up at all times, not to put on a show, not to put on a performance, but to speak life into people and to calm yourself down, calm myself down so I can be kind to the person when I'm losing patience and I can be kind to the corporation that's hired us to speak. Both are important. Mic it up.
Game on.
Come on.
We'll see you guys next Thursday.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Chase.
Thank you. Peace.